Hey guys, welcome to part 41 of Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last part we got 2 gym badges, so now we're like the coolest guy. And now we're going to try and get the last 1, 2, 2, I know it's 2. And yeah, so obviously now that we're in Pewter City, because we managed to get here, that opens up Pallet Town, so we can go straight from Pewter City all the way down. So naturally that's what I tried to do, but there's no way in hell I'm going through Viridian Forest without any repels. So yeah, this is what kind of happened. I was like, yeah, Viridian Forest, I'm going to punch a Weedle in the face. And then I was like, no repels, turn it around. And then I got in a battle with this bug guy. I'm not too sure why this bug catcher is here. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the original, but that's fine. They do what they gotta do. I'm happy for them. So yeah, so I had to kind of quickly, take this guy out. I was thinking about cutting out this fight completely, but seeing how I accidentally did it, I thought I'd keep it in. The part was a little short, so screw it. That's how I get past that kind of stuff. So yeah, because I haven't had repels for ages. I mean, one thing with the Pokemon games that you should always do is always have a stupid amount of repels, like just 60 max repels at all time. You should always have 60, that's what I'm going to say, because they're always handy, they're always going to come in handy. And with a game like this, I mean SoulSilver, it's massive, there's tons of stuff to do, tons of places to explore, and tons of times you need repels. But of course, if you think about it, I haven't really gone through that many routes in Kanto. Okay, yes, I've gone through a lot of routes, but not that many have been, full of grass or anything like that. So this is pretty much one of the first times since we come to Kanto that I have to go through grass. And I think the reason is because they kind of just stopped making it so you had to go through grass. Because I think with this being the first game, I think with Viridian Forest they wanted you to encounter wild Pokemon. They wanted you to know what was going on with that. So with Viridian Forest you had to go through all these large grassy areas. And in fact, I think in the whole Pokemon series there's no other places where you have to go through as much grass that has wild Pokemon in. I mean, I certainly can't think of one. Of course you got like Rock Cave that has wild Pokemon everywhere, but I think this is the time where there's the most grass you have to go through. Don't know why I'm talking about grass, but anyway, so we're in Viridian Forest, and this place, I try not to play at night too often. At night is when I have the most spare time to play this game, and I try not to play it too often, but I'm pretty happy that I played through Viridian Forest at night, because it looked really cool. I mean, did you see that place? It looked really cool. I mean, it looked a lot better than the forest that was in Sinnoh. And yeah, it just looked a lot better, so that's pretty nice. And of course I gotta fight another bug catcher, you know how it is. I didn't want to go fight many of the bug catchers, so I mean I didn't. I mean, again, I don't really need to. And these guys are really weak. It kind of seems like as I'm going along through Kanto, the trainers are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. I mean, it kind of makes sense because this is Route 2, I think we're now in, maybe Route 3, I'm not too sure, but I mean it's definitely kind of odd, and there's a stupid amount of bug catchers. So yeah, now we're in Viridian City, which looks really cool. I mean, they really did nail nighttime in this generation, like with all the cool lights and things like that. So I mean, obviously the natural thing to do is to check out the gym, and in the originals Giovanni was the gym leader, so you had to beat all of the game to go fight him. And in this one, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, who is the gym leader, but I'll say this, it's really cool, and like most things in this game, and most things in this version of Kanto, it's a really cool idea. But I mean, I'll talk about that when I talk about it, but, needless to say, it's not Giovanni. The only way to fight Giovanni in this game is to do the special Selby event, so, I mean, you know that story. So this is kind of odd. Of course, this is Route 1, the classic, the original, game-defining Route 1. Not really game-defining, but it's still pretty cool. And it's kind of a bit... I don't like how much they messed with it. I really would have liked it if they kept it exactly the same as the original, because it's so iconic. It's Route 1, it's the first one you have to go through. They make you go through it 3 times because Oak's like, hey, I want my parcel. and you're like, I'm like a child, get a postman. It's like, no, you get my parcel. And then you're like, okay, well I guess so. You just gave me this sick Bulbasaur that can throw up grass power, whatever. So I guess I'll get your package for you. And he's like, because that's how he talks. But yeah, so there's like all these trainers all over it. I mean, of course they had to do a graphical update to make it look all fancy and nice and to fit the rest of the game, but did they really have to throw in these trainers? And a trainer with an Absol? Absols are badass and I really like Absols, but really, I mean, come on, like they should have just left it alone. I mean, I really do like that in Kanto they've changed a lot, because the whole point is, you know, this game takes place 2 years after the original games, which is awesome and something they've kind of neglected. I mean, with Pokemon Black and White 2, you know, with the first Black and White and the second Black and White, they went back to that idea of a region, you know, a few years afterwards, you know, something happening and then going back to it a few years afterwards, and that's awesome. But it's weird that they didn't do that in the 3rd gen or the 4th gen at all. I mean, they could have done, you know, but I won't get into all that. I mean, I guess they didn't want to repeat the same idea. I guess really, if they had done this idea of revisiting regions, then the fact that you revisit Kanto in this one would have been not lame, but not as good. Because that's one of the things, like the other games not having this makes this game look awesome, and just is why people think it's one of the best. And here's something I'm calling out. This is some BS right here, alright? Why is there a Hoo-Hoot? I know it's night, and Hoo-Hoots like to appear, but why are there Hoo-Hoots in Kanto? One of the things that I kind of, you know, talked about before in one of the earlier parts is that there's no other generation Pokemon in the grass, you just fight them from trainers and all that. But they've kept all the other routes the same, what Pokemon they've put in there. And I guess I should, you know, stop talking about it, because we're now in Red's house. One of the things that's pretty cool about this game is that the character, or who you played as in the first game, existed, and you can go into his house, and it's kind of creepy, because his mum's like, I don't know, I guess he just left, you know? My son's disappeared. Oh, well, I guess I'll call the police, but he does have a pretty sick Charizard, so I think he'll be okay. But she doesn't seem worried. I mean, good for her. I guess you were gone for a while fighting criminals in the first game, so Red can take care of himself. So it's just really kind of creepy, because you'd think maybe they would bulk out the towns in this version to kind of make it seem more, you know, just seem more, like, seem better. Or seem like more realistic, you know what I mean? So like it actually feels like a proper town. But no, you come to this town and it's like, oh, there's one house, there's another house, and there's a lab, and that's the town. Done. No other people live anywhere else. You know, the scientists, they're homeless. Professor Oak is like, get the hell out of my lab when it comes 5 o'clock and the bell rings. They all sleep on the ground, get bit by, you know, Subats. You know, they always get laughed at by Pidgeys, and Hoo-Hoots are just giving them grief all the time because they're homeless. You know, they're like, Red's mum, can we please live in your dusty son's room? He's probably dead. So, and she's like, no, I want to keep his PC dusty for when he comes back with his hench Pikachu. Kind of got a bit off topic here, but anyway, so I kind of left this in. I mean, mainly to bulk up the part, but also to show you what I meant by emulator crashing. Now, when we came to Kanto, I gave you a quick glimpse of one of the ways this emulator crashed, or this ROM crashed. But yeah, that was the other way, you know. All the screen goes black and all that. And also another reason why I left in that screen is because I couldn't find a subtle way to edit the footage. I guess I could have done it if I tried harder, but... Okay, so with Pallet Town not having any gym leaders, of course you're going to come to Cinnabar Island. And another awesome change. Well, first of all, Gary! I mean Blue! No, I mean Gary! It's Gary! It's Gary Oak! One thing that's really odd about this game is that okay, so this is your rival from the first game, and he's like, I'm a pretty cool guy. And this is the person who's the gym leader of the Viridian City Gym. But you have to collect all the other 7 badges to finally challenge him, a bit like in the first games. But I don't know why they called him Blue. because I know in the anime he was called Gary and all that, and they want to keep away from the anime, but he's Professor Oak's son, which would so technically his name is Blue Oak, and that's a really dumb name. I mean, you can't call a kid Blue Oak. I mean, oaks aren't blue for one. I guess you green oak or brown oak. I guess that would make sense. But yeah, so I think they should have called him Gary. Honestly, like calling the lead guy Red, I'm okay with that. You know, it's fine. But and not calling him Ash, that does make sense. And Ash isn't the same as the guy as you played in the first game, so that's fine. But the Blue in this game and Gary are so similar that it just really doesn't make that much sense. He's a character called Gary. He has a granddad. Gary's a bit of a dick and all that. So I don't know. But the awesome thing about this setup, and the thing they actually changed for Cinnabar Island, is that apparently a volcano went off and destroyed the island. Which, first of all, where was that volcano hiding? But I mean, it's the world of Pokemon. Somebody might have just used an attack called volcano, and then they're like, oh no, a volcano has risen. Let's get some boats and get the hell out of here. And I have a suspicion, right? I have a sneaking feeling one of the reasons why they completely transformed Cinnabar Island so you can't explore it or really do anything there and have a volcano destroy it is to get rid of the right side of it. Now, I know it's not the only reason, because, if you know about the Pokemon games, you know that to get missing No to show up, or missing number to show up, you have to, talk to the guy, and then you, in the original game, surfed up and down on the right side of Cinnabar Island. So my suspicion is that for this game, they wanted to get rid of that right side of the island and try to get rid of that. Of course, they could have just technically fixed it, but I think they wanted to go out of their way to be like, no, you can't do that in this game. And, obviously they came up with that in Pokemon Silver, Gold and Crystal, not in these remakes. And of course, it's an awesome idea, so they're going to keep it in the remake. So, and the thing that leads on from this is that, and it's kind of confusing, is that the gym still exists, and Blaine is still like, yeah, I'm a pretty cool guy, I've got fire dogs, whatever. But you have to come to Seafoam Island, which is another awesome idea. Another awesome idea. They did so much awesome stuff with Kanto in this game, and it's just such a cool idea. So you have to, there's just one specific island you have to come to, and then now we're in the gym, and I have to take on the trainers and all that, and it's pretty cool. I mean, the one problem with it is that you have to know to come here, or you have to just think, right, there's no gym here, I'll keep exploring, let's see what Seafoam Islands is all about. And I mean, the only problem with that is that you don't have to explore Seafoam Islands in the original games, so you might not necessarily come to Seafoam Islands, even though you have to in this game. So I mean, that's kind of off, and the reason why when I was on Cinnabar Island I went back to the Pokemon Center is because I was seeing if I could find any clues to where the actual gym was, because I really couldn't remember at the time, and none of them give you any clues. You don't get any clue that this gym's here. Well, you might get one clue, but if there is a clue, I definitely missed it. So the gimmick to this place, there isn't much to it. It's kind of sad that they took out the whole question thing from the original. It would have been nice if there was some form of the questions, because the stupid questions they came up with, I would like to see them come up with more stupid questions for us to answer. So the gimmick is that there's trainers everywhere. You talk to the trainer. If you beat them, which I mean you should, they're trainers, they move out the way, but you kind of have to look and see where they're going to move. So as you can see, this guy's facing towards you, so if you beat him, he's going to move back, and that means that you can actually get to Blaine. So I think technically you can only fight 2 of the trainers and get to Blaine, but I mean, I've got E-Rock, I'm kicking ass here, destroying all these fire types, so I thought, well, I wasn't too sure actually. So, and also E-Rock learns Stone Edge, which is pretty cool, because it's not that accurate, or it's not as precise or accurate as I would like it to be, but it's still a really good move, so that's pretty nice. But with that, we're coming to the end of the part, so next time in Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver, we are going to take on Blaine and head towards finishing Kanto.